Welcome to the March 17th, 2026 Town of Penfield Transportation Committee meeting. I will now call this meeting to order. We will hold the approval of the minutes from the January 20th meeting until the April meeting due to there being some people out today. So we will move on to a discussion on the Canterbury Trail and Chatworth Circle stop sign request.
Sure. We had a concern come in from a resident probably about a month or two ago. Just as you said, Canterbury Trail and Chatworth Circle. So it's off of Watson, right at this intersection. And they were requesting a stop sign. They were concerned that drivers coming up Canterbury Trail are not yielding the right-of-way as they should to those driving on Chatworth. So they were requesting a stop sign. We did go out there and do a site visit. However, since all of the foliage is not currently yet out, there are some trees and shrubs in that area, so I think at this point my recommendation would be to wait until the spring when we get some foliage and go out there and take a look at the site distance, at the realistic site distance that there would be when the shrubs and the trees come in.
Wouldn't that only need a yield sign?
I think that probably, that would be what we would be looking at, is a yield sign.
Yeah. The T's right there. I mean, it's just, you're supposed to, whatever.
Yeah, so yes, you're right. At a T intersection, the right-of-way goes to the drivers on the, the horizontal part of the T or the top part of the T. But in some situations, if, like, for instance, there isn't enough sight distance, we can look at, any type of signage that would be needed. But
Did we determine if there's any accident at that, or?
Not in the last 5 years.
Okay.
No accidents.
Have we got a current traffic count of how many cars are going through that intersection?
So we have, we don't have any counts that we have done as the town. We don't have any counts on Chatworth. On Canterbury Trail, we did have counts from 2022, and I think the ADT was 90. So it's very low volume. And at that time, the 85th percentile speed was 25 miles an hour. Speed limit's 25 miles an hour.
And this isn't a cut through, it's just all
I don't believe so. I think it's just a neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
2 ways in, 2 ways out. You're not getting through to anywhere else. I
Right.
think it's just people failing to yield the right of way. People are coming out of the cul-de-sac, heading north, and then, people in Canterbury either think they can beat it or just aren't looking, since there's not too many houses in the cul-de-sac. But
Right. Yeah.
again, most instances, just trying to remind people of right of way and, rules of, your standard rules of driving back when you first learned.
Right.
But I think we can, hold till the trees grow in a little bit, see if there's more of a sight distance issue, whether a stop sign is warranted or, more likely, as you stated, a yield sign would probably be most, warranted for this location.
So that's agreed then?
Yep.
Okay. All right, and now you have an update on traffic counters?
Yes. So, as the committee likely knows, for the past several years, the town has been using tube counters. So that means that 2 or more of us have to go out. We have to they're just like long strips of rubber, basically. You've probably seen them, that they get literally taped down to the road. And that gives us a small, snapshot of traffic data such as speed, volume, the ADT, that kind of thing. But we are limited to basically anytime the road is cold, anytime the road is wet, we can't put the counters down, basically because the tape literally won't stick. And then in the wintertime, we really can't put any counters down because they could get ripped up by the plows if there was any snow. So it is pretty limiting. So there are other options out there that use data that allow you to see basically like any given time of day, any week, not weather dependent. It can give you data for the whole town, any street on town. So I believe we were, a company had reached out to us and said, hey, we have this product available. And we've been looking at several other similar companies just to kind of get an idea of the playing field. But one of them did offer us basically just a preview of what their service would provide and what the data would look like. So they've given us a small snapshot of their data. This is just a small portion of Penfield down here. And then I can zoom in. I think we could use Canterbury and Chatworth as an example. So let me zoom in. Let me find Watson Road. Here it is. So this is like the same intersection we were looking at. And the way they have this set up right now, the snapshot data that they gave us, I think they just gave us data for just January of 2026. But if we were to use a service like this, we would have access to a lot more data than just 1 month. So right now I have this set up to show the speed, the average speed. Here you can see the legend. So for example, we can look at Canterbury Trail, click on this segment of road, and this will give us not just the average speed, but all the different percentiles, including the 85th, which is the one that we typically refer to. Average speed breakdown, so it gives you all times of day and night. And then you can also look at other things such as volume. So we can look at how much volume there is on each of these road segments all throughout the town. One of the benefits of this is that, like I was saying with the tube counters, we're limited to basically just like the spring and summer and early fall months. And then if we want to capture any data that includes like school buses and school traffic, then we're really only limited to just like, May, June, and September.
How does this technology work that every street is covered? I mean, this is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
You don't have to go out and put something down on the road. I
Right.
mean, obviously embracing technology. That's great.
Yeah. The way, maybe I'll
So
punt this to you,
The way
yeah.
they shared, they have access if you have any sort of GPS in your car.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Sirius XM radio, you just have OnStar in your vehicle, you have you have your cell phone in your car. It doesn't tell us who you are, what kind of car you're driving, but it gathers all of that data
Yep.
with their information. So if you've got anything in your car, that carries any sort of GPS with it, most of us have cell phones.
Yep.
It is gathering that data, and then they buy it, and then obviously they can package it and share it back in this format. So as before, we look at 3 streets at a time. We get a complaint, we go out and look at those 3 streets, we do the counts on it, we capture it that 1 week in time.
Right.
This, if we get the full package suite, we can have all the months, we can go back in history and see if it's trending. And as Aimee had pulled up, it shows you time of day, it's the peak. So as we're looking to the sheriff's office is sitting here with us, we can say, hey, it looks at 6 a.m. on such and such a street as a peak time for speeders. Go out and kind of target those. Those we can look at, as people share their concerns, kind of show across the town what that does.
This is really cool.
So this would be something that would be internal. Obviously we can, use it for this. I think there's limited users to it, so it wouldn't be a town resource on the website. It'd be a tool, obviously, we can use with transportation. We can use, with DPW to have access to it. So we've shared this with the town board. The town board is supportive. We were looking at switching from the tube counters to radar units, but again, those are mounted to a post, a pole, a stop sign, something else. And then this group reached out to us. We're looking at, a few others. It's not cheap, but it's something maybe we try for a year and see how it goes and, what the benefit is and if it, brings value that way. But you can just see how much more data we have on every street than, typically that's, our longest lead time. Somebody has a concern, great. We've got to go out and do our counts.
Exactly.
Back, and then, well, it was Easter week, so the numbers are off. Well, it was, summertime, the school buses are out.
Right.
That valid's not
And we
valid-
can
the
address
data's
their
not
problem
valid.
much,
It's-
much more quickly because we've got the data here. We don't have to go out.
So-
Give us a month or two.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was nice
love
for
it.
this group to say, hey, we'll give you a little snapshot of the data, if you can make it available to us. They said they give it to us for a month. We can share it here with this group. Hopefully the public can look at home and, see that stuff's out there. And, hopefully this could be something we could, benefit from and utilize in the future. But yeah, you can click on any street we've got in town and it has, updated data on it month by month. Again,
That is so cool.
probably doesn't capture every car out there.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you have an older person that doesn't have a cell phone, doesn't have anything in their car, it's probably not capturing that.
That's an anomaly.
Put anomaly in how many percentage of us have cell phones nowadays, or I say OnStar, XM radio, any other, thing in your vehicle that, is connected somehow to satellite. Yeah, this looked like a great option, a great, resource, and, thought it was worthwhile sharing with the group tonight, and, as well as the, the public at home, so we can see those areas, and you can, color-coded, you can see right off the bat, where some of those areas are, and, we can work with the sheriff's office as well to, get some additional enforcement.
Yeah, I like.
Yeah.
Are there other comments or questions regarding the traffic counters? Okay, well, thank you.
Sure.
All right, so now we're moving on to traffic concerns under other jurisdictions. And Mark, you are going to update us on the Browncroft Boulevard project.
So I think even as of just this week, some signs have gone up on either end of Browncroft announcing that the project's starting. They're going to be doing some utility work first, so it'll be some daily lane closures here and there, so it's not going to be the whole road. They've got to do some improvements. So this project is starting at 590, and then 590 all the way to Qualtro is the portion of the project. So a portion's in Brighton, and then once you get down in the Dugway and come back up, obviously that portion's in Penfield. So as we get more information, some timing, we'll put more stuff on the website so people can follow, know when there's going to be impacts to traffic. But just had a pre-construction meeting with them last week. So I think at the end of this month, I think it said May 30th on the sign that stuff may get started. They've got to move some light poles, start doing some utility pole work. That'll be the first part. Then they've got to do some road widening up in the Brighton end. Then they're going to do some widened sidewalks on the south side of Browncroft, west of Blossom. So that's an area where bicyclists, have issues where the road kind of tightens and hits some pinch points there. So what was originally basically a mill and fill project, as we all know, there's numerous potholes. The road is degrading day by day. It was basically just a mill and replace project. We've advocated for some improvements, some sidewalks, some additional bike improvements along the road. So they are incorporating those into the project. They're doing some drainage work down in the valley, as people know. As you go through there, there's times that it's kind of plugged up and doesn't drain too well, so they're doing some improvements in that section. We've asked for some signal work. I don't think that's in this project, unfortunately. Again, this is up to the state of New York, so I'm just reporting on their project. It's not up to Penfield. We've asked for some, turn arrows, at certain spots. That needs to meet the state warrant, so not everything's in it. But I think at least it's a betterment of, one, the pavement, first and foremost, and two, hopefully there's some betterments for our cyclists and pedestrians out there to, make that section a little bit safer for everybody.
Yeah.
So we'll continue to update this group as well as the website as we hear and see more that's coming. And obviously there'll be some temporary inconvenience once they get into milling and paving. I think they're going to do some of that at night. So we'll brief the town board on that when that comes around. So there will be some temporary night work to minimize
That's good.
impacts. But, obviously it's going to take a little bit of work to get through. But I think as everybody's seen, it definitely needs some TLC through that section. So
Are they going to plan on this, getting it all done in one season, or is this a two-season?
the official end of the project is next June.
Okay.
I think the construction company's trying to get it done this year, and then there's guide rail work, so there may be elements of it that carries to next year, but I think they're planning, paving into the fall. Hopefully as the project goes well. They didn't guarantee it, but I think
Yeah, well, weather
their plan is
dependent.
to mill and pave and hopefully be done by, before winter, do final striping, next spring, and then any other final touch-up work then.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
All right, there's no held items. Is there any new business? Okay, there being no new business, the next meeting of the Transportation Committee will be April 21st, and we will have Collier's Engineering talking about the Climate Action Plan, and I will adjourn the meeting at 5:15.